So I love watches inherently, and I especially love tech. So smartwatches are pretty awesome, but this one sucks. And it sucked when it came out, and it sucks now. It came out about 2017, so the latest probably get it of the model year was like 2018, being 2020 right now, or 2022 right now, almost 2023. That means the watch is about 5 years old. So for a 5-year old watch, pretty good still, but it's a horrible watch by today's standards. So opening it, this really cool box, I think it's pretty cool. You got your Fossil Gen 3 smartwatch, Q Explorist. You got the nice watch on the front, which is colored to whichever one you get. You have your Fossil Q, just tells you what it does, and this is basically all it does. The media controls is iffy, the text is okay, and the actual working out aspect of it is also okay. It's not water resistance, it does not have a lot of features, and it just gives some more information on the back. So opening it up, you get this. A nice place for the watch to rest. Obviously, this is a 5-year-old watch, so the watch is not in there. It's right here. And this is not the current band it comes with. This is an after band, which is also by Fossil. Now the reason why not using the one it came with is because it's a 5-year-old watch, and that will become pretty self-explanatory in a minute. It would typically just slot in here, and inside of this you have your user guide as well as a charger. Now this charger only works for Gen 3. I'm not sure about Gen 4, I skipped the Gen 4. It has this flat charger and it's magnetic, so you just take the watch and it only goes in one way, and you just put it on here, and then you plug this into any USB-A outlet to charge it. The battery life is pretty horrible. It is a 5-year-old watch, so it'll last some hours, but I just charged it and it's already at about 89%. So maybe going on a quick outing, but definitely not an all-nighter. You have your manual inside of here. It's a pretty cool box. It's nice and orange. You got your paper, which I'm not exactly sure what that's from, but I don't think I ever opened this. Oh, I must have, because this is where the charging cable was. I'm sure it came with a manual, however, it's not in here. Now, I'm going to go throw the box away, because I've been holding on to this forever, and the reason why I'm making this is so I can take one last look at the box, because I think it's pretty cool. So, your watch right here, it looks really nice. It looks kind of like the picture. It seems a little bit more grayed out in here than it is in real life. I kind of like the actual one in real life more. Looks a little bit nicer to me, but this is the end of this box's life right here. Oh, and you see you have some more stuff on the top right here. I'm not exactly sure what this means. Maybe some timering, touchscreen, yes, and it does have a microphone, yeah, and it does have a speaker, though it is pretty garbage, and we'll look at that in a second. So the actual watch itself, it kind of sucks. The entire Fossil OS I kind of have a problem with, and that's because you can't save watch faces. So given the fact that this is a 5-year-old watch, it's pretty slow, and a way to kind of go against that slowness to keep it more up to date is to be resetting it every once in a while. But when you reset it, you're going to lose all of your watch faces. So if we go down to the actual Fossil app right here, you can see it is stuttering a little bit. It is pretty slow. You can see it opens the Fossil, and then inside of here we should have nothing, because I reset this a while ago and I just never got around to making my new watch faces because I just don't feel like doing it again. And this is a problem with all Fossil watches, even the new one. This is the 5, even though the 6 is out. I hope they fix it on the 6, but since it's software, it should update to the 5, and I have not gotten anything from the 5 yet. So we can create a new category, and this is a little bit slow, but once we create our new category, when this is done, we would be able to add watch faces. It's so slow, it's going to take a while. You can see I just pressed the keyboard right there. Press the keyboard again. It does register it pretty slow. It does have a nice haptic motor. It's okay. It's nothing crazy. There's no real save button right here. I just continuously type the backspace, and there's a, looks like a tab button, but nowhere to save it. I can't really go back. They do have the swipe typing, but that's not very helpful here. I guess you just press the crown button to go back. Okay, now I have no clue what to do from here, and it just kicked me out. So I'm not really a fan of the actual Fossil OS. Probably won't get one of these again, even though I already have 3. You can see I have a screen protector on this, Now, this watch was kind of my daily for at least 2 years, I believe. And so, being a daily for 2 years, I went through some screen protectors, just through work, hitting it on things. But other than the screen protectors, the entire screen itself is totally fine. No cracks, and there's nothing wrong with this screen protector. The actual gold has held up very well. There's really none scratching or anything on the surface. Now, hardware-wise, there's no heart rate sensor because of how old it is. No NFC, you can't make payments or anything on it. And this crown really sucks. The newer ones are kind of clicky, so you can click it and it'll work like this. But this one is mushy, so if you press it, it like feels a sponge. So it is not an amazing feeling. It really, really sucks to press it. These are hard buttons, so these are pretty nice. You can just map them to whatever you want in the settings. Scrolling up, you have some basic controls here. It's the same as the current one. I don't think there's a way to customize it, but we'll look at that in a second. There's music controls that if you play something, it'll pop up right here, and you can click it for like Spotify. You can pause, skip, volume up, volume down, which is pretty handy. Like if you're driving and you don't want to touch your phone or anything, you just have your watch right here while you're driving. You can easily just swipe down, click this, click the next song, change your volume if you're using headphones or if you're in your car, whatever have you, if you don't have any like Android or Apple Play. So again, the color is super pretty. I really like this. I don't know if they make the color like this anymore for men. That's yet to be seen though. The microphone is up here and it sucks, I think. I don't really call on this. It looks kind of dumb when you call from it. The speakers right here. The speaker is utter garbage as well. The actual mechanism to take off the bracelet part is really, really nice. It's just a squeeze along these two parts right here. I'm using this metal one for now, but it can be easily removed. And this is 44 millimeters, I believe, the actual crown. But if I bust out my calipers, it's more around 46. So if we put it along here, measure it in, it's about 46.3. And the actual thickness of it is going to be about 13. That's a little bit thicker than my Gen 5 one right here, but there are some bigger Gen 5s, which I believe round out to about the same size as this. So anyways, this is the crown. I think it's pretty. It's kind of heavy, so that's important to keep in mind. It's a little bit heavy, although after prolonged use, I never really notice it on my wrist. Only when it gets really, really hot in the summer, then it starts to get a little bit sweaty. I'm typically not someone who sweats a lot, but it does build up sweat because it's just pressing down your skin, and it is metal right here. So I'll typically not wear a metal band, and there are other bands you can get. Speaking of bands though, this is the reason why I no longer wear the ones that came with it. So this is the one that came with it. It was this really nice blue, you can imagine on this gold right here. And this blue, I had been wearing it for about 3 years, just the blue, and let's just say that this part does not stay on the watch anymore. You can see that the leather is pretty much all gone. Now I believe these are about $30 or possibly $50. I didn't check recently because I haven't bought one recently, but you can see the leather's all gone inside of there. It's really stretched out, so that does not work anymore. I really want to get another one of this band because this band is really pretty. You can see that you have the genuine leather right here. Now the blue dye from this ended up staining the back part from here a little bit. You know, when you put your watch just in like this, the blue dye did end up staining it. You can see that up here you have more of this leather where it didn't get worn right here, and the rest of it is pretty worn down, not great looking. The holes held up super nicely, so that's pretty good. Other than that, the color held up really well. The actual material, of course, it's genuine leather. It's pretty nice. The only thing is, I would say this part right here is a bit of a weakness, but you can't really expect much when you're sliding this up and down the watch every single time you put on the actual strap. So I do want to get another blue one because I will continue wearing this for short trips, and by short trips I mean probably like no more than an hour. If you're out for more than like 2-3 hours, this thing's gonna die if you have it on the optimal settings. And by optimal settings, I mean the settings where, you know, you have it at a glance, where you have something like this where you can actually see the time. I hate having to turn it on. I would just rather have it at a glance like this. So if I'm just sitting, I can check it over really quick, something like that. Other features like the Google Always On and stuff like that you don't really need, but you kind of want to be able to see the time if you're looking at a watch. Now there's other bracelets that I use. So there's this nice white one right here that I like to pair with it occasionally. This makes it super flashy. The gold itself is already flashy, but the white makes it even more flashy. We have this nice tan, which is pretty sophisticated. It goes with it really nicely. And if I want to go for a little darker brown, maybe go with this. Both these browns look pretty sophisticated, so those are nice. Now in the summer though, if you want something light, the silicone band is probably the most durable, probably the best for a situation like this when this is not going to be a daily driver. This is more of like a quick outing, so you can easily snap these on just like any fossil watch. Put it in the hole, pull this pin back, and pop it in. So it's going to look just like that, and it's super easy. Take off this one, and taking it off is the same as this one. Just undo the strap just as you would any other watch, and then you have this nice watch right here. Gold's really pretty on the black. Of course you can always choose other bands. You can put it on just like this. So once it's closed up, the band is very soft, the silicone, and turning it over, it looks really nice as well. My wrists are exceptionally small, and I don't think it looks too out of place. It is a pretty big watch, again 44, 46 millimeters, somewhere around there, but it still fits pretty nicely. It's not too heavy. I really like it. It's great for telling the time. Again, this one is so old, over 5 years old. You can buy this off of eBay for like $200, but why would you do that when this is 5 years old? You might as well buy an up-to-date one, spend a little bit more, around somewhere $300, an extra $100 gets you the most updated one. This is a horrible watch to buy. You would never want to buy this, ever. You can maybe sell it if other people are selling it for $200, but again, this is a 5-year-old watch. It has no features, it's extremely slow, just like this. It does look really nice though. The only reason why I'm keeping this is because it looks really nice. I may try to list it, we'll see how that goes, but if someone buys this for $200, I'll totally sell it for $200, but would not pay that much for it. So you can see I am pressing the crown button and nothing is happening. It is just straight frozen. Oh, and we got some movement there, but I'm pretty sure it's gone. So this happens quite a lot. I would just have to hold down and reset it. And this is basically a dead watch. It's gonna take a while to restart. You can see if I swipe this away, it's not even gonna swipe away. It's not even gonna let me click it. That is how slow this watch is. So if I hold it, hopefully we'll get a restart here. Something went wrong, we got an error, and now we're restarting. So I think the logo, I think the watch overall looks really nice. The only thing though is it is pretty thick. You can see that's not a plus. In the more recent, like the 5 models, they've slimmed it down quite a bit, and they've actually added this curve, which I believe helps with the overall actual sizing of it, whereas this one is just a straight bulkiness right here. It's going to take a while to restart, so we're not going to go over that anymore. Now we're going to look at the minimal settings and applications that it has. So I restarted the watch, and it's taking a while to load everything up. I think it might be because it's getting really hot. And the problem with this is it's on your wrist. And if it's the summertime, it's going to get hot. So another thing where this falls is it's overheating. It gets extremely hot. It's very slow to charge. It's almost, I think, maybe even over 2 times slower than it is to charge the more recent ones. It is a 5-year-old battery, but that's just something to be aware of. It's sucky. And that doesn't really make any sense because you're not going to buy this anyways. But if you do have it, don't expect any battery life out of this thing. And don't expect it to charge fast. You can swipe up, of course, for your notifications. I have none here because I just restarted it. You can swipe down to go back to the home screen and then swipe down again to get to these. So this changes your volume right here. This one changes your power mode. This one just turns battery saver on. Just turn it off. This is like the theater mode, they call it, where it basically blackens your entire screen until you turn the crown button, press the crown button. Here, do not disturb. You have your find your phone, which honestly, for these watches, I find one of the most useful features as the find my phone. The find my phone and answer calls on watch. So if you have Bluetooth headphones and you're listening to music and your phone's in your pocket, your watch is on your wrist, someone calls you, I love how you can answer the call on your watch, but it will stay on your phone. That is a really nice feature because if you have your Bluetooth headphones in, you have your phone in your pocket, you can just easily press that and answer it. However, this one is not that. This one is the Find My Phone. So if I press it, it will go to actually ring my phone, which I find extremely useful. We'll just cancel that for now. We have airplane mode. I'm not sure exactly what that does, other than turning off the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth. You can see that the connection here, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and the battery right here. You can see how much the battery has drained, and I've only been looking at this for about 20 minutes. So we have some display options. We can change the watch face, which I believe just brings us to the Fossil app. We have adjusting brightness, we have font size, and we have the always on screen, which I do like to leave on. However, maybe for this one, I'll keep it off just to get more battery life out of this already dying battery. Again, it looks really pretty though, so we'll keep it at that. I turned my sounds all the way down. I'm not going to have any media volume on it. The alarm volume, I don't really care for alarms on this. It'll buzz, so I mean just the fact that it's vibrating is enough for me. You can see it's a lot snappier now that it's off my wrist. It's cooling down just a little bit on the back. You can really feel the heat on the back though. So that's it with sounds. We have our apps and notifications. This came with like a couple really dumb apps. They have a hand wash timer on here, and the hand wash timer is awful. It's horrible. It's a terrible app. And there's so many other bad ones that I would just love to uninstall, but I don't think I can. So if I go into app info, it'll load the apps, and we can look at all the apps I have on here. So we have a voice recorder. That's pretty nice if you want to record from your watch. I'll test that out. I haven't really used that much on here. We have notes if you want to view notes, write something down and view it. Maps is really helpful if you're just driving like this. You have an older car and you don't have like a phone stand or whatever. Even if you do, the maps is a nice feature. The calculator, we have a safety app. Spotify doesn't work very well on here, so there's that. There's the wrist camera, which is pretty nice. It activates the camera on the phone, although it doesn't use the actual phone camera. It's kind of like Snapchat for Android. It uses just the general camera, and so you don't get the greatest quality of pictures if you have like a more up-to-date smartphone. You have your app notifications, app permissions. You can't really uninstall any of the system apps, which sucks. You can change your vibration pattern, which is, there's something with that. I'll just do double. I typically do double or long, basically double, so I make sure I don't miss anything. It's pretty nice. You also have your gestures. You can tilt to wake, you can touch to wake, and you also have wrist gestures. So I'm actually going to turn all of these off. And the reason why is to conserve battery. So if I want to turn this on, I'll just have to press this button right here. It's pretty nice. If you want to turn it off though, you just basically palm it and it will turn off. So we can try it right now. If we palm it, it'll turn off. And then we can press this and it will turn back on where we left off. So we have our settings here. We have our connectivity where we can connect it to our devices. We have our accessibility, not much in there. We have general as well. There's not much in here. Inside of personalization, there's a pretty cool feature. Not screen lock, I don't really care for that. We have our hardware buttons. So we have our smart reply and Google detection. We can turn those off, but if we wanted to, we can customize the hardware buttons. So we have the top right as Fossil and the bottom right as the Play Store. Let's say we want something else, like let's say, see there's a stupid hand wash timer. Anyways, let's go down to, let's say Spotify. We want to adjust something. In the top right, let's say we want it to be like a clock or a flashlight. That one's pretty cool. It's nice if you are in a really dark environment because the flashlight is basically just maxing out the screen brightness on white. So we have the flashlight. We are also going to, let's just say we want to have maps. You know, if you're biking, this could also be something that's pretty well. Or instead of maps, let's just open a alarm in case we want to set an alarm. So we can go out of here and we can try that in a second. We have our storage here, which is where all of our apps are, and we can uninstall anything, typically anything that we don't like this BoltBot, kind of a dumb app. Let's see if we can disable it. Other apps may be affected. I don't really care. Let's disable the maze one. We don't really need that either. And there's other ones you can look over as well. I might go through and disable some just for better performance. But be careful though, you don't want to disable too many system ones. You have your battery, you have your date and time. You can restart it, power off, disconnect and reset it. So if you disconnect it from your phone, you're going to completely reset the watch. So that's just something to be aware of. So we can go back to the home screen. We can click the top button, and I guess it's not going to do anything. Oh, okay. Well, it took a really long time, but it turned the flashlight on. So this is the flashlight. Again, it's useful in super dark environments. Maybe if you're biking at night, you want to have this on your wrist, kind of just as a light. That can be pretty helpful. Next, we have our alarm. So we can just set new alarms here, and that can be pretty useful as well. There are tiles here. We can swipe like this. Tells you the weather, tells us what's going on. We can use our Google. We have our events. We have basically what's happening. This is pretty useful, and I actually find that quite nice. We have more weather right here if we swipe to the right. These are our other tiles. I guess it's time for someone to take a bath. This is another tile for calendars. You can open that up and view your calendars. You can set a stopwatch timer from here, and then you just have some articles like this. And that's really it for this watch. Nothing too special, but if you have it, definitely something to keep using, because it's not e-waste, it looks nice, and if you're just going out for a couple hours, this is perfectly fine. Real quick, the reason why I did not mention the phone app, because yes, there is a compatible Fossil phone app with this, is because the phone app is extremely underwhelming. Again, it would be so nice if you could save your watch faces, and if I have multiple Fossil watches, let's have an ecosystem where I can transfer the watch faces from here to here, I can save them, modify them, whatever, share them. That would be so nice. Each watch feels so individual, so isolated. Samsung watches, Apple watches, they're all ecosystem together, and they work very nicely with each other. Even the new Fossil watches have Alexa, but you really want Google. These are Google based, so that is a little bit confusing there. More complaints on the future ones and the newer ones is in the next video. Hopefully you'll be in that playlist, link below the like button. But this one, again, keep using it. It's not e-waste. It looks nice, unless you have one that doesn't look nice, but I think they all look nice. So let's continue using our old tech and use it basically until it dies. And then when it dies, we can try to pop open the back with these slots right here. Maybe look at a teardown guide and see if we can replace the battery. If it's less than, I'm going to say $20. If it's less than $20, $30 at the most, I'll totally replace this and keep using it. Otherwise, it would be going in the bin. Maybe just wear it as a cool accessory like this, even though it is not going to be useful if the battery is dead and it doesn't work. But that's all for the Fossil Gen 3. It's a sucky watch, but it's great if you already have it.